What's up, everybody? This is going to be a little tutorial on how to get started in Don't Starve, or Don't Starve together. It should apply to pretty much any of the Don't Starve games, expansions, whatever. And we're just going to get started. We're going to start a whole new fresh world. And the beauty of this game is it's a randomly generated world, so every time it's a new game. So if you're playing Don't Starve together, we're going to start with the host game. And I'm just going to delete this server here. I'm just going to start fresh. So we're just going to go to a new world. I've got some of these older worlds here that I've already played earlier, but we're going to start fresh for the beginners. We're going to do cooperative. We're going to go to local only because I don't want anybody joining me. And I recommend if you're new, you start with a endless, because that way if you die, you can kind of still continue. You don't just lose everything and have to start over. And for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to go turn down here. I'm going to turn down the hounds a little bit, which are right here. Hounds attack like every 10 days. But we're just going to start generating the world, and you're going to get to choose a character. Depending on what game expansion you're playing, you'll have a few different choices. Personally, if you're playing Don't Starve Together, I really like, I'll show you, his name's Maxwell. He has really high sanity, which means later in the game, or really early even really, you lose sanity in this game. You've got hunger, you've got sanity, and you've got... Okay, so we're going to pick Maxwell here. There's plenty of different characters you can choose. They have different advantages, disadvantages, but I recommend, if you're new, picking either Wilson, because he's easy to use, or I like to use Maxwell. And we're just going to select him. We can change his colors if you want, if you have cosmetics unlocked, but we're just going to start the game. So every game you start at this thing here. And just FYI, if you picked Endless, anytime you die, you can come back here as a ghost and you can revive yourself. And we loaded into a crazy world here. They're already fighting. These pig men are fighting the frog men, which you never see that when you start a game. But I'm just gonna start picking up stuff. I'm gonna let them duke it out over there. Eventually we can go over there and pick up whatever they left behind from killing each other. So early tips. Every flower I pick up, it brings up your sanity. So if you look on the top right of the screen here, we got 145 hunger, we got 75 health, and we got 200 sanity. Every flower I pick up, I'm gonna get a little sanity. But however, the reason I picked this character is because he has really good sanity, so we don't really have to worry about that a whole lot. But I'm just gonna assume you might have picked anybody, so we're gonna teach you how to get your sanity up as well. So early game, you're getting as much twigs, as many saplings, as much grass as you can get, getting as many flowers as you can get. And if you noticed earlier, I picked up a piece of flint, which means I can hold L2, which brings up crafting menu. And this goes all these different ways you can craft, but I'm just going to craft an axe right away. L2 and X. Now I've got an axe, if you see it's at 100% here, so now I can start chopping down trees. Pick this carrot. So we're going to chop down a tree here. Chop, chop, chop. You see my axe durability is going down as I chop it down, so eventually you have to rebuild your axes and your pickaxes and whatever. So we got some more wood now in our inventory. See, now we got some acorns, or some pine cones we can plant, some logs, we got carrots. We'll get to that in a second. But early on, you're really just trying to, your first day, you're just trying to pick up as much stuff as you can. Like I said, getting flowers, you're getting any kind of food you can get. If I click on my touchpad, that brings up my map, so you can see what I've discovered so far. And the more that you traverse, the more that your map will unlock. You see as I'm going left here, it's unlocking more of the map. And every time you hear that little ding song, ding, that means there's something I can craft I haven't been able to craft prior. Let's chop this tree down. And I recommend, if you're chopping trees down, to go for the bigger trees, because they're going to yield you more wood, more pine cones. So we're just holding X to pick all this stuff up. And if you look on the top right of the screen, it's day one. It's this game has a day-night cycle, so it's once that ticker on the top right gets to the blue or the red, it's going to be evening. Once it gets to the blue, it's going to be nighttime. And this game progresses through seasons, so you start off, right now we started off in the fall, and at day 20 it's going to be winter, so you always want to be prepared by day 20 for the cold season. You need to have some stuff ready. We'll get into that eventually, but right now we've got 20 days to kind of get ready for winter. The main thing, you know, the game is called Don't Starve, so a lot of the game is providing yourself food. And this tree right here, these are my favorite trees because it's called the birch nut tree. And watch when I chop it down. It's going to give me some birch nuts. And birch nuts, you can replant them just like any other seed, or you can actually cook them and eat them. So they're kind of like a tree that also doubles as a food source, which is kind of rare in this game. And this game, food is so hard to come by sometimes. It's very nice to have a tree that can provide you with food. So this rabbit hole, we can put traps on those kind of rabbit holes, but this isn't a very good location for that. Once we start our home base, oh, and you see it's getting darker. And you see the top right corner, it's into the red zone. That basically means it's evening time. It's a little cooler outside. There's certain mushrooms that pop up only in the evening that you want to try to grab. But again, we're just kind of looting everything, picking everything up. Make sure you get any type of food source you can. Get those carrots, get those berries, get those flowers, get those saplings. And also, as I'm picking stuff up, I'm just discovering the map. So this is where we started, right here on this little swirly thing. Now we're down here, and I'm going to kind of round my way back up there. Early on in the game, you don't really want to stray too far away from where you started. You just kind of want to start slowly expanding your like view of the whole map, because if you go too far away from the center, you just kind of get lost, and you can kind of get yourself into big trouble. And you have a hard time if you die or whatever. It's hard to get back going again. And like I said, if you do die, which you will, if you're new to this game, you'll die. It's okay to die. You can just go back to the swirly thing, go through it, and you'll turn back into a person again. If you're playing on endless mode, that is, which is what we're playing on right now. So I really like this biome right here. There's different biomes. Like we're in like a wildland biome. This is a forest biome to the left. And the reason I like this biome right here is because there's a lot of rabbit holes. And those rabbit holes are really good for trapping rabbits, which then can give you a lot of food. So let's say you put your base next to a bunch of these rabbit holes, like we might do right here actually. If you look at all these rabbit holes, we got 2 up there, up top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, we got 8 rabbit holes just right in a small vicinity, which is really good. There's 9. So we're probably going to start our base there. And the sooner you can get your base started, the better. And it's also really nice that we just picked up some flint, because all that flint that we're picking up, we're going to be able to build ourselves some pickaxes and some other stuff. And look at all these rabbit holes. This is beautiful. And if you look on the top right of the screen, it's almost nighttime. Now, one of the big things of Don't Starve, most new people die from just simply not having a light source by the time nightfall comes. So if you're new to the game, get used to being able to build a light source. So if you hold L2, let's loot this real quick. If you hold L2 and you can scroll, I'm going to build this campfire. And here's another big tip. I like to build my fires onto a path here, because you see these paths here, this path here, and this path here. You move a lot faster when you're on the path. So we're going to add a little fuel to the fire. The fire can burn out, so certain things are fuel. And we're going to add these logs to make it a little fuel. And now it's nighttime, we're going to cook some of our food up. So I'm going to go to my berries here. Let's do these birch nuts actually. We're going to cook these birch nuts up. So I'm hitting left on my D-pad. And I'm just cooking these birch nuts. We're cooking them, cooking them, cooking them, cooking them. And now we're going to eat them. So if I hit right on my D-pad now, I'm going to eat them. And if you look at the top right, my hunger is going to go up because I'm eating food. So that's kind of how you cook and eat food. So berries, for example, if I eat them right now, I could eat them raw, but they're not going to give me as much nourishment. They're not going to heal me. So you always want to cook food if you can. We'll cook these seeds up. Cook them 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed. And we're going to save those because, let's eat them. If you see our hunger, where it's at 133, we're going to eat some seeds. Now our hunger is at 142. Alright, so we're going to have our base. This is going to be our home base right here. We got to remember that. But we need some more stuff to get our base started. Specifically, we need some rocks, which will then give us some gold. Because one of the first things that you want to get early game is a science machine. And if I show you, it's right here, the science machine right here. So we need 1 gold, 4 wood, and 4 stone. And to get stone, we're going to need a pickaxe, so I'm going to build a pickaxe. And we're just going to start exploring a little bit more. Now that it's daylight, we've got some time to explore. And we're just going to go out and try to find some good stuff. And what we really want to find is some rocks, some stones, some boulders. And I'm just following this path because we're a lot... Oh! If you look down here, I clicked on my map. Look at that. Right there, there's some stone. To my left. So we're going to highlight my pickaxe. We're going to equip it with right on the D-pad. And we're going to start chopping that boulder down. And this boulder is going to give us some rocks. Some nitrate. But really, we need the rocks that give us gold. Those little boulders don't give you gold. But the bigger rocks will give you gold. So you want to be constantly checking your map. As you can see, I'm checking my map as often as I can. Just try to figure out where I'm going. Beefalo. These guys are really good to have. I might even build my base closer to them because when you get attacked by enemies, you can simply run towards the beefalo, and the beefalo will kind of protect you because the beefalo will fight hostile enemies. I got a feeling we're going to hit a dead end down here. But it's really important just to discover the whole map, so we might as well follow this road as far as we can. Got some more beefalo. And I like to kind of check the edges here, see how I'm just trying to discover the map. And we hit the edge of that, so I wouldn't be surprised if we hit a dead end here down here. I hate going so far. Ooh, maybe not. Okay, yep, we're about to hit a dead end. And this is a little spider nest. If you've ever seen a spider nest, you can come here, they'll pop out. But we don't really have anything to mess with them right now. We're gonna have to just leave that. And you see my inventory is getting kind of full, so don't be afraid to drop stuff that you don't really need. I don't really need this nitrate currently. So it looks like we found a peninsula down here, which kind of stinks. But at least now we know what we have and what we don't have. And early on, you know, it is kind of a grind. You know, you're trying to find those beginning items, and sometimes it's kind of hard. You really just got to search around the whole map. Sometimes you'll find it right away. Sometimes it'll take you a little bit of searching until you can find what you need. Which right now, like I said, is a boulder, which is going to give us some gold. So we can get our science machine going, because the reason we need that science machine is because it's going to allow us to build a bunch more items, such as like a backpack. Right now we can only hold like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 10 items. A backpack will allow us to hold many more items, which is going to be really helpful. So here's our home base again. As you see, my fire is gone because they do disappear after a while. That's why we need to build this fire, but we need more rock. So we're just going to keep on keeping on. I don't really have a whole lot of food right now, which kind of stinks. I've got those carrots and I've got some berries. It is only day 2. Sometimes by day 2 you've already got your base going. You just kind of get lucky. But because this game, it randomly generates the world every time you play, you really never know what you're going to get. Oh, and this is what we're looking for, guys. This is it right here. If you look on the map, these golden boulder looking things. This is super important. Early on, this is like the first thing that really can get your base going. See how I just got a golden nugget there? That's what we wanted. We're just gonna eat this seed to get this out of the way. Oh yeah, so we're just gonna get some of this gold. We're gonna get some more boulders. So all this flint we're getting, all this stone we're getting, and all this gold we're getting, those are really good starter materials. So this flint, with all this flint we're getting, I can build pickaxes and shovels and axes. The gold is allowing us to build that science machine, and the stone is going to allow us to build a permanent fireplace that's not going to disappear like that last one did. It's the stone is going to allow us to build like structures and a lot of other things that are just very important to early game Don't Starve. And you notice that pickaxe just went all the way down to 0, so I got to build another one. There we go. And now you can watch my pickaxe on the right side of the screen. It loses durability as I use it. It's already down to 91. But we're just going to kind of get ourselves some stone. And again, new to the game, do not get stuck out at night without a light source. If you'll notice, it's day 2, but it's almost nighttime. And I don't have a light source right now. But all I gotta do is hold L2, go to light, and I could build a light source right here. I'm probably just gonna build a torch. So that's another big tip, is early in the game, when it's about nighttime, don't be afraid to just build a torch and just keep running around and discovering the map. Don't be afraid to just, you don't have to build a fireplace and just sit there all night, because it's pretty easy to survive early on. So for example, it's almost nighttime, I'm going to build myself a torch. I'm going to equip it, make sure you equip your torch. And I'm just going to keep looting throughout the night instead of sitting around by a fire. Because my hunger is still pretty good. I don't really need to eat anything. You know, I can manage to go a whole nother night. Ooh, what do we got over here? But if you look at my torch, it's at 68 health, 67, 65. Your torches can burn out, so don't get too confident with that torch. But early in the game, the night is really quick. If you look on the top right of the screen, the blue little section of that circle, it's really short. The further in this game you go, for example, when you're in the winter, those nights last a really long time, and you're going to need multiple torches. Right now I can use a single torch and make it through the whole night, like I'm about to. It's almost morning. Later in the game you cannot do that because the night lasts so long. So we're going to unequip that torch. Oh, yeah, whatever. So this is where I originally wanted to start my base, but because we found those beefalo down there, actually we're still going to do it here because all these rabbit holes. So where was that? And what I like to do is have as many rabbit holes on the screen as I can when I have my base, because therefore, see, there's a beefalo already. It must have been further up. Well, see, it's up there. Yep. So we got to remember those beefalo down there. They're going to be our saving grace, potentially. But I think all those rabbit holes were around here somewhere. Let's get some more grass. Maybe they're... Oh, they're over there. Alright, I was wrong. And you're going to see pretty soon here why we need all this grass. I honestly wish I had more sapling. We really need more twigs, because we're going to start building traps and these saplings right here. Let's actually get a few more of those before we start our base. I hope we got enough stone. We're just going to prioritize these saplings. And again, this tutorial is based on just getting started in Don't Starve. Eventually, after you've played for a while, you're more planning for a later game. You're not just trying to plan for the immediate survival, but for like winter. But look at all these rabbit holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is beautiful. I really like it a lot. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 right there. So we're gonna build our permanent base right over here somewhere. So we're gonna get our science machine. Okay, so this fire pit here, not this fire. I'm hungry, by the way, that's why he's saying that. So we're gonna build this fire pit. Now this fire pit will never disappear. That's why it's so good. We're gonna put it right about there. And then right next to it, we're gonna build our science machine. Because now we got that gold. Remember that gold I was talking about. So this is what the science machine does. If I walk next to the science machine, it unlocks several more recipes. For example, the shovel. If I go over here, I'm not allowed to build a shovel. It's right there, it's locked. But I can go to the science machine, and now I can build a shovel. Once you build the shovel, though, you unlock it forever, so you don't have to keep going to the science machine. You essentially unlock it. But this is really what I really wanted, this backpack. So I'm going to build a backpack. It automatically equipped it over here. You see this backpack here. And now I have all these extra slots down here. A bunch of more slots. The disadvantage is if I want to put armor here, which this is my armor slot essentially where this backpack is. If I put armor here, my backpack's going to drop, and anything down here is going to drop as well on the backpack. So remember where you drop your backpack. So we're back here. You see my dude's hungry. If you top right of the screen, I have 38 hunger. So I gotta eat. Let's eat. We're gonna cook up some berries. And let's just scarf those down. Oop, actually I should have cooked those. I accidentally ate them. I'm a little ahead of myself. These ones will cook. So left on the D-pad, we're gonna cook all these carrots. So it goes from a carrot to a roasted carrot. And once we eat these roasted carrots, 83 hunger, 95. So it gives us about 12 hunger per eat. So we're gonna eat it. And now we're pretty full, we're looking good. And this is a pretty good start. It's day 3. We've already got our fire pit here, we've got our science machine here. And we've also got a backpack so we can haul a bunch more stuff. And early on I might as well start planting these trees. So I picked up these pine cones here. What you can do with those is you can plant them right on the D-pad. And then I'm just gonna start a little tree nursery, and we're gonna kind of go far away from the base, because I like to plant the trees a little further away, because closer to the base is where you want to be planting your bushes and your plant and your food and stuff. The trees can be a little bit further from the base; they're not as important. So I'm gonna get a few more saplings while we still got time with some daylight. Get a little more food. And by the way, I should show you what I'm doing with these flowers. So we picked all these flowers you see, and right now we have 18 flowers. What I can do with those flower petals, if I hold L2 and I go down to hat, and we're gonna build this garland here. It takes 12 flower petals. Check it out. Now I have a hat, and what this garland does is it increases your sanity over time. So it's a really good thing to build, because it's just gonna help. If you look on the top right of the screen, that 200 that I have there, that's a sanity. That's gonna drop, and there's a lot of things that will make your sanity drop. If you fight enemies, your sanity drops. If it's raining, your sanity drops. If you're hungry, if you're taking damage, your sanity drops. So sanity is a really difficult thing to manage in this game. So if you can build this flower hat, or AKA this garland, just build it and wear it, especially if you don't have anything else to wear, and if you have a bunch of flowers, you might as well. The guy that I picked, Maxwell here, he's the best guy as far as sanity, so we don't really have to worry about sanity, but most other characters, it can be a really troublesome thing. So get that garland, pick those flowers. Remember, every flower you pick, it's going to bring your sanity up a little bit. But it's almost nighttime, so we're going to just head back to the base, and we are going to put some fuel on the fire to get it started again. Let's cook our last carrot. Let's cook a little berry. Let's scarf those down real quick. Nom, 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 nom. And I forgot to mention, because I'm Maxwell, you start with these extra weird little items. You start with this nightmare fuel, I'm dropping it. And you start with this Codex Umbra book, you drop it. This will always stay here. If you drop stuff on the ground, it'll stay there. So if you're running out of space and you have your base figured out, don't be afraid to just drop stuff. You know, I could drop these rocks here. I could drop this gold, you know, whatever. We're going to cook these seeds up and eat them. And we're going to eat them up. We're going to add a little more fuel. And another tip, you see these petals here? You can eat the petals. And let's say you're low on health. You can eat petals and they will give you health. I'm at max 75 health right now, but I could just eat these and it would give me health. But it's not really helping because I don't have any. I'm not missing any health. So it's day 3. It's about to be day 4, and we're just going to conclude this video because you know we've kind of got started. We got the base started. You should be able to start building rabbit traps. So what I would be doing right now is I would just start building a bunch of rabbit traps, and I would be putting these rabbit traps on these rabbit holes, like so. And then rabbits will eventually get stuck in these rabbit traps, and you can capture the rabbits, you can kill them, you can cook them. You know, I could just keep building these rabbit traps because I got all those saplings. That's why we were catching those saplings in those grass. So with these rabbit traps and all these rabbits that will eventually get trapped in these rabbit traps, with this fire, with the science machine, with our backpack, you could really get started and don't starve. You could start building yourself like a spear. You could get yourself a little grass suit, which is going to give you some armor. Or really, I recommend a log suit. You can start building yourself some really good armor, which will be, you need to use rope and stuff to build that stuff. And eventually, you're going to advance on. Eventually, you're going to try to build an alchemy engine, which can unlock even more items to build. You're going to want to build a shovel sooner than later because you can dig up bushes and grass and stuff like that and replant it closer to your base. And just all these different survival tools, different traps. For winter, you're going to want to have a thermal stone, which will be really important to keep you warm in the winter. So day 4, I showed you kind of get through the basics. Look at, we already caught a rabbit. I can put the trap back down, and I'm going to murder this rabbit. And now I have a morsel which I can cook at the fire, and I can just eat this freshly cooked rabbit. And that's how we're going to end the game, folks. I really appreciate it if you watched. If you have any questions, throw them down in the comments and I will be happy to help you out. Don't starve tutorial. Take her easy, folks.